Greenland's history with Vikings is a fascinating tale of exploration, settlement, and cultural exchange. The Vikings, also known as Norsemen, were seafaring people from Scandinavia, present-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, who lived during the Viking Age, which is generally considered to have lasted from the late 8th century to the early 11th century. Around the 10th century, the Vikings set out on ambitious voyages of exploration, and one of their destinations was Greenland. The first Viking to reach Greenland is believed to have been Gunnbjorn Ulfsson, who sighted the island in the early 10th century. However, it was the renowned explorer Erik the Red, Erik Orvaldsson, who is credited with the successful colonization of Greenland. Erik the Red was exiled from Iceland around 982 AD for manslaughter and decided to seek new lands to settle. He sailed westward and, after spending some time exploring the southern coast of Greenland, he returned to Iceland and gave the island its appealing name, Greenland, in an attempt to attract settlers. He described Greenland as a fertile land, which was not entirely accurate. The island's coastal areas are relatively mild in the summer, but much of its interior is covered by ice and glaciers. Erik the Red's efforts were successful, and in the early 980s, he led a group of settlers to Greenland. The initial settlement took place in the southwestern part of the island, in an area known as the Eastern Settlement, Gilderland. Over time, more Norse settlers arrived, and additional settlements were established, including the Western Settlement, Vestrabygg. The Norse settlements in Greenland thrived for several centuries, and the inhabitants adapted to the challenging environment. They engaged in farming, raising livestock, and hunting local wildlife. They also traded with their home countries and other regions, exporting items like walrus ivory, polar bear skins, and even live polar bears. The Greenland Norse also had contact with the indigenous people of the island, the Inuit, previously known as Eskimos. While there were occasional conflicts between the two groups, there is evidence of trade and cultural exchange as well. However, as the medieval warm period, a relatively warm climatic phase, came to an end around the 14th century, the Greenland settlements faced increasing difficulties. The climate grew colder, making it harder to sustain agriculture and livestock. Additionally, political changes in Europe and the isolation of Greenland from its homelands made trade more difficult. By the late 15th century, the last recorded contact with the Greenland Norse was made, and the settlements eventually disappeared. The exact reasons for their disappearance are not entirely clear, but factors such as climate change, declining trade connections, internal conflicts, and struggles with the indigenous people likely played a role. Today, Greenland is an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark and has a predominantly Inuit population. The Norse settlements represent an intriguing chapter in the island's history, showcasing the adventurous spirit and resilience of the Vikings in their quest for exploration and settlement in distant lands.